AI, a little bit of a story there, a little bit of the story behind AI itself. I run a podcast called Asia Tech Podcast, which is a lot about AI and transformation here in Asia. So I want to share some of the case studies. I want to share case studies of love, crime today, and also what you can do, the case study on hot pot. So it's a bit of a mishmash, but hopefully it'll make sense. I graduated with a degree in artificial intelligence, right? That's my secret I want to share with you today. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, he looks really old. When did he study artificial intelligence? So my confession is I graduated with a degree in artificial intelligence in, and you can work out my age, 1995. 1995 is nearly 25 years ago. That's like a quarter of a century ago. And the crazy thing about that is that's last century, that's last millennium. I graduated with an AI degree and I walked into the careers library, as they were called back then. And I walked up to the careers counselor and I said, I've graduated with a degree in AI, what do you got for me? And she said, well, what's AI? And I said, I should have said, it's an idea ahead of its time. But I fumbled my description. I said, AI, it's genetic algorithms, robotics, machine learning, blah, blah, blah. And her eyes glazed over, and then she looked at me and said, I've got something for you. She brought out her inbound folder, down the list, there, that's a job for you. And I looked at it and it said, teach English in Japan. So I came here, and I feel vindicated, full circle, because now I can talk about why now, why AI now, and why Asia. And William Gibson, the author who invented the word cyber, said, the future's already out there, it's just not evenly distributed. So what I wanted to do today is share pockets of the future with you, because it is out there, here in Asia. We don't need to go to Silicon Valley to see the future and AI, it's here. So I want to share those case studies with you today. Starting with this lady here, Xiao Ice. So Xiao Ice is a chatbot now owned by Microsoft and developed part in Japan, part in China. Now it's a shiny object. The media loves this stuff. Xiao Ice has had 100 million messages sent to her which say, I love you. And she has fans. There's even 5 students who booked a table at a restaurant for 6 people, the 6th person being the chatbot. And there are even headlines coming out like this, it may only be a matter of time until humans and robots tie the knot. This is like a sense of inevitability. In an interview with Xiao Ice's chief engineer, he said, this is where it gets a little bit creepy, folks. Originally, her character was to be that of a 16-year-old. But her creators raised that to 18 once her capabilities increased. And she started taking on new jobs. New jobs? What is she doing? Since then, her fans have voted that she stay 18 forever. She won't grow older. 18 is the age many of us want to be, says Dr. Lee. So when we look at AI, often the media attention's focused on the shiny objects. Well, what I want to talk to you about today is where the real impact's being made. Not necessarily the Xiao Ices of this world, but sometimes the mundane stuff. So we have to start with the problem. What is the problem AI is trying to solve here in Asia? And the biggest problem that we have here in Asia, and I'll share 3 case studies of this, are these guys. Asians shopping. Now the story behind this is the Asian middle classes. Not just crazy rich Asians, but the Asian middle classes. It's one big mother of a problem. How big are they? Well, let's have a look at the US economy today and compare it to the Asian middle classes in 10 years, in 2030. The US economy is worth $17 trillion. The Asian middle class in 2030 will be worth $30 trillion. That's twice the size of the US economy today. And the problem with that, they aren't buying the soap powders, they aren't buying the insurances or the cars that their mom and dad bought. These are people without any history whatsoever. That is a big data problem. So how do you solve it? Alibaba. Now Alibaba launched a credit system called Sesame, which was initially designed to solve that problem. An AI-driven credit scoring system for Chinese consumers, for the Asian middle class, to help people lend money to them, to help people understand if they're creditworthy. And if you look at what's happening in China now, China is leading the world in AI. If you look at the patent applications, it's already outstripping the rest of the world filing for patents. A lot of this is big data, and a lot of it, as we'll discover, is facial recognition. So what's the problem? All these consumers who suddenly have money have no history. So let's create a system to give them a history. Alibaba comes along with the government, and they come up with a plan to create credit, and then the government sees that and think, actually, we could also use this for other things. This is kind of handy. This could reward good behavior. We've got all this AI, we have all this facial data, we can track it to people, we can give them a score. So if you have a look at the app, the Sesame app in China, you get, every single one of us gets a score. And you can check it on your app. Now, you can have a look. You're not on it, by the way, unless you're Chinese from China. Not yet, anyway. So everybody gets a score, and that impacts the services and the access to privileges in society. So for example, if you have a low credit score, you cannot buy tickets to high-speed trains. But it goes beyond that. If you have a low credit score, you can't get certain loans. You can't even get internet services. You're blocked from government jobs. You don't get privileged school admission. You can't travel abroad. Everything. Thanks to AI. So, some of the activities that may lower your credit score, jaywalking, smoking on trains, and buying too many video games will reduce your credit score. How can you increase your credit score? Well, interestingly, you can buy back your credit score. You can donate money to charities, and you can give blood. Let's sync this up with facial recognition. Let's have a look at the data. The most surveilled cities in the world, the top 5 are in China. Come on guys, Singapore, we've got to work harder. We're right down here in the league. Not even in the top 10, the number of cameras in the city, 1/10 of what there are in China. How does this affect day-to-day life? Well, Sesame can track you crossing a road through facial recognition, through AI, determine your behavior through AI, and then report that behavior. I saw you jaywalking. Lose 20 points. That's how it works. And what does it mean for the future? Where is this going? This is a map on the app which allows you to see who in your area has a low credit score, who in your area is in debt. So think of the applications thanks to AI. So the question is, what hope is there for us when we see big data crushing individuality, crushing creativity? What about the human beings in all of this? And that's what I want to talk to you about now. Because these very dystopian futures are painted by media and picked up upon. But I believe AI can have a better application. Let's talk about health. So there is a competition that happens every year where they invite the world's best doctors from China and AI as a robot to compete against each other. In neuroimaging, here are scans. I'm going to show you a lot of scans and you have to guess whether or not that's a disease. Pattern recognition. Talk about pattern recognition of faces. Let's talk about pattern recognition of a scan of your lungs or your brain and see who is better at diagnosing disease, man or machine. So they invited 15 doctors to chain cut, which is the world's first competition, as it says, between physicians and AI in neuroimaging. And the results are revealing. On the left-hand team, the doctors, 66% accuracy in 30 minutes. BioMind, AI, 87% accuracy in 15 minutes. So what does that mean? It means if your job is about pattern recognition, if your job is filling spreadsheets, machine can do it better than you. I don't care if you studied 25 years in medicine, if you're extremely intelligent, which a lot of doctors are, well-trained, machine can do it better. So what hope? What hope for us? Well, we need to think about what AI can't do. What is it a machine can't do? A machine in a hospital can't hold your hand and say, how are you? That is the clue to how we need to use AI in the future. And if we want to understand how AI fits into the future, let's go back. The last industrial revolution. You've heard these terms, the next industrial revolution. Industry 4.0 is the next industrial revolution. The last one, go back a few years, 18th century England, when I was born. 18th century England, the Luddites smashed the machines because it took their jobs. If you were a highly skilled professional in 18th century England, you weren't a doctor, you were a weaver. You made baskets, you were an artisan, you created stuff, you owned land, you could work 3 days a week and feed your family. That was the equivalent of doctors back then, highly skilled professionals. Along came the machines, decimated a whole generation of professionals, turned them into cheap labor in factories. They went from being the doctors of their time to cheap factory workers. But, and this is the key, we hear this all the time, machines are going to take our jobs. What do? Smash the machines. Well, you can't do that. Machines took jobs and created jobs because as much as the weavers were destroyed, a new industry was formed. And that was retail. Shops appeared all over London servicing middle-class madams who now could buy cloth, fabric that they could show to their friends. And what that meant, you needed people to sell this stuff. You needed people to tell stories about why madam needed a tablecloth because it was a status symbol. Now you could entertain people. So what happened was this massive transfer of value. The last industrial revolution didn't destroy jobs, it destroyed and created and transferred value from spreadsheet fillers to storytellers. And if you're in data science, you've got to think about that. If I'm in the business of filling spreadsheets, I need to be thinking about telling stories. So this is what I want to share in the last 5 minutes, how AI will replace humans, but not humanity. There's a lot of talk of automation. Automate your business, transform your business. All of that. But then what? If we automate the business, what's left? What do humans do? We have to automate the business to elevate us as people, do more of what we do naturally, become more human. And I want to share an example, Heidi Lau Hot Pot. Anybody been to Heidi Lau Hot Pot here? Come on, you Singaporeans, you love Heidi Lau Hot Pot. Yes, you do. Put your hands up. You know hot. Yeah. And you went to Heidi Lau Hot Pot because somebody said to you, you should go to Heidi Lau Hot Pot, right? And they showed you the video, right? And they said, you've got to go to Heidi Lau Hot Pot. What's going on? AI. Let's talk about it. This is searches for Heidi Lau Hot Pot over time on Google. These guys don't advertise, by the way. It's that place. You've seen the video where they do the noodles, right? Somebody has shown you this video, right? People are nodding. You've seen this video, doing the noodles, Heidi Lau Hot Pot. This chart should really be time versus probability. A friend will show you a Heidi Lau Hot Pot video. It's increasing. You're going to get one after this. But the business benefit is clear. Heidi Lau Hot Pot now tops Singapore's rich list. What is the strategy? How do they use AI? Do they automate everything? Do they automate the whole process, the kitchen, the server, everything? It's just robots serving. No, they automate to elevate. They have robots, yeah. Maybe delivering some dishes. But if you look at how Heidi Lau Hot Pot's organized, firstly, the kitchen is tiny. The kitchen is there in front of you. You're not having a kitchen run in the traditional sense with the chef, Gordon Ramsay, and barking orders from back there. You're there in front of the customer. And they use big data behind all of this. So the menus you get in Heidi Lau Hot Pot, they allow their people to experiment. You've got an idea? Let's put it in there. Let's split test it. Let's validate it. Let's run an A/B test on that menu. See if people like it or not. And let's use some AI to crunch those numbers and tell us what's working and what's not. What they're doing is they're allowing their people, the person that serves you, not the chief strategy officer, the person that serves you to drive frontline decisions because they've seen something. Yeah, maybe we'll have spicy chicken. I'll try it out. All driven by AI. Now, if you've been to Heidi Lau Hot Pot, you might notice there's big, long queues of people waiting, right? It's about an hour wait time. If you go to the one in Clarke Quay, it's about an hour wait time. The one in Vivo City in Sentosa, it's a bit bigger, an hour and a half maybe. But you can get your nails done whilst you're waiting. Men or women, you can get your nails done. It creates an amazing customer experience and people share it for free. So you're thinking, what are they doing? They're taking all the heavy lifting away from their people and they're allowing their people to do what they're really good at. And that is this: interaction, engagement. Not automating the human. Not automating what you come for, the experience, but automating all the stuff that gets in the way. And empowering their people to be more human. Heidi Lau Hot Pot do not hire from outside or promote from outside. If they want a manager, they promote their own people, so they use AI and big data to identify who are the right people in the organization. Automate to elevate. So, if there's one thing I want you to take away from today, there are these big dystopian images of what AI could be, and there are the cool chatbots. But the reality is, sure, AI improves efficiency, but then what? You have to be able to turn that into an advantage. Use that to help your frontline staff, your people, to be more human. And there's a reason for this: 200,000 years of human history. That brain inside your head, 200,000 years of human interaction. We're all talking about digital transformation, but the reality is 99.99% of your human history, that evolved brain, has been offline. That's why we're here today, offline. We're not doing this online. So if you're talking about digital transformation, remember that digital transformation isn't about digital, it's about people. And we, as an industry, have to use AI to help us become more human. Thank you, guys.